A free Call of Duty helps make Activision tons of money. We've got some time to wait for the prince, and there are answers to some baffling questions and a crossing of the streams in WandaVision. All that and the latest and everything cool today in the Rundown. Welcome to the show, everybody. We've got some fun things to talk about today, and it's dedicated to Hip Hop Dan, who says he loves the Disney parks, and he can't believe how excited he is for Super Nintendo World. Same here, pal. All right, we've got some great-looking games headed our way from Activision Blizzard, but we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait a while for two of the most anticipated sequels that Activision Blizzard has in the pipeline. Both Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 are not scheduled to arrive this year, but surprise, there will be more Call of Duty, and there will be more free-to-play gaming from Activision Blizzard. Call of Duty Warzone just helped Activision Blizzard have its most profitable year in its history in 2020, with net revenue at over $8 billion. The free-to-play model for Warzone is going to be a key part of their future. Speaking with MCV, Activision President and Chief Operating Officer Daniel Alegre said, "If you look back at the reach for the franchise since we embarked on this new direction, we have seen monthly active users grow from approximately 40 million in 2018 to over 100 million in 2020, and we see more opportunities to grow the user base." And clearly what Activision Blizzard is going to be doing is they're going to take the model that Warzone has created, and congratulations to them. And I think their calculated bet that it was going to pay off, it clearly has, but they're going to take that model and they're going to apply it to lots of other games. And they do have a bunch of free-to-play Warcraft titles in development, some for mobile, but I would expect that there's probably going to be some kind of PC or console crossover while they continue to work on the mega paid-for experiences out there as well. Underscoring all this, Activision also said, "We are accelerating our path to reach 1 billion people as we apply the Call of Duty framework across our other franchises, including premium content, free-to-play access to all consumers, expansion to mobile, and continuous regular delivery of in-game content." Now, 2020 was obviously a huge accelerant for the video game industry. Lots of companies benefited from the fact that the movie industry had to slow down, the television industry had to kind of adapt, but games just kept on rocking and new stuff kept coming out, and Call of Duty was there to entertain a lot of people. But you know what's interesting is we're seeing kind of this multi-pronged attack to keep continuing to grow the video game industry. Obviously, mobile is an ingredient in there, and that sort of accessibility, disposability of a lot of free-to-play mobile stuff keeps people engaged in this medium. Maybe not to the way that you and I would like. You know, I would prefer people play good things. Free-to-play is clearly a huge avenue to reach lots and lots of people out there that might not have the disposable income or the desire, quite frankly, to spend in lots of other directions. They look at gaming as just a quick escape that they can play with their friends, and we've seen lots of games benefit from that kind of philosophy. There's also the subscription model, and Microsoft has just crossed the 18 million subscriber threshold for Game Pass, which is an incredibly significant number, and they're continuing to expand on marketing and telling the world about Game Pass in some huge and clever ways, and it would not be surprising to see Game Pass and xCloud, their streaming service, kind of merge and offer people an opportunity to access game content in a myriad of different ways, including smart televisions. Maybe we'll see a Mac app. Who knows? We might even see Game Pass on some of the other consoles down the road. But the other side of this whole sort of growing the audience equation is that the consoles are doing great as well. We've seen Switch sales up over 80 million units already. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X have both had really strong starts out of the gate, and people are still purchasing physical media for these platforms. So it's really interesting. I think the bottom line in all of this is that all of these different boats are rising, and the interest in our medium is just continuing to grow and grow and grow. And I think the other side of this is now there's going to be this whole mainstream acceptance of all of these video game properties, like with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie and the Uncharted film, and hopefully the Mortal Kombat movie is good. Activision Blizzard is talking about engaging 1 billion customers through their games. I think that that's going to happen. But we're also going to have to wait for Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. Now, something else that we're going to have to wait for is the remake to Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Got some disappointing news from Ubisoft today that the Prince of Persia Sands of Time game has been delayed. This is from the developers. Since announcing Prince of Persia The Sands of Time remake in September, we saw an outpouring of feedback from you on this beloved franchise. It is your passion and support that is driving our development teams to make the best game possible. With that said, we have made the decision to shift the release for Prince of Persia The Sands of Time remake to a later date. This extra development time will enable our teams to deliver a remake that feels fresh while remaining faithful to the original. We understand the update might come as a surprise, and we will continue to keep you posted on the progress of Prince of Persia The Sands of Time remake. In the meantime, we want to thank you all for your ongoing support. Now, this is the second delay that we're seeing from the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. In September of last year, I was able to interview the game's director and Yuri Lowenthal, who's going to be returning as the prince for this game. There was some footage that was released around that time, which didn't look great, but I, know that a lot of stuff gets really vastly improved just months before release, and I figured there was going to be some iteration and some tweaks and stuff. The game was delayed back in December. It was supposed to be coming out this month, and it was delayed another month to March 18th. And now this new delay is an indefinite delay. There was no date attached with it. So clearly there's been a lot of introspection and a lot of looking at the assets and a lot of play testing to make this difficult decision. It's Ubisoft Pune, an Indian division of Ubisoft, who has been a support team for lots of development over the years, but this is like their first big project. It's also the first game that Pierre-Sylvain Guéret is directing, so there's a lot of pressure. I mean, everybody wants this thing to be incredible. It's one of the best action-adventure games of all time, the original game, and so they can't drop the ball. And of course, what's happened since the announcement of this game is that we've crossed over into a new generation of machines, and the expectation on what video games look like is just improving by the minute, and so this game can't be released and look antiquated on day one. It has to look and play, even if it's a classic, it has to remain faithful to the classic, but it has to look awesome. It has to look fantastic. So tough decision, probably a wise decision. Ubisoft can afford this delay. They can't screw this up. A lot of the work is already done. A lot of the progress is done. I hope that this game is fantastic entertainment when it comes out. And Ubisoft knows they can't drop the ball. I'll tell you who else can't drop the ball. It's Marvel with WandaVision. I'm going to be talking about Episode 5 now with some spoilers, so you've been warned. As we anticipated, Episode 5 of WandaVision was filled with some pretty cool answers. We're really starting to get a better idea of what's going on in the town of Westview, and we're starting to see Vision kind of crack under pressure a little bit. We're starting to question how much Wanda is manipulating everything and controlling everything. We see Agnes walk into the screen, played by Catherine Hahn. Terrific, nuanced, amazing performance by this person. She's seeing the Vision transform. She's seeing their twins actually age up before our eyes. They grow from 5 years old to 10 years old, and all of this weird, trippy stuff is happening, and there's this blank acceptance on the part of Wanda, who's just trying to play along and be lost in this fantasy world that she's crafted. But on the other side of this, the Sword agents are starting to figure out that this is all a manifestation that Wanda has crafted, and she's basically holding all the citizens of this town hostage. And Monica Rambeau has this epiphany that when objects cross through the hex, which is this hexagonal force field that Wanda has crafted around the town, they transform into period-appropriate material. So when she wore her bulletproof clothing, it transformed into the 70s outfit that she was wearing when she was sort of playing one of the characters in the sitcom. We're now living in the 80s. It's got kind of a Family Ties vibe about it. It's kind of heartwarming music that leads us into it. Everybody's hairstyle and wardrobe has changed as well. But what's going on is that the cracks are definitely starting to take root, and Vision is really seeing the insidious nature of all this. We're also seeing the power of Wanda and the fact that she is trying to kind of build a world for herself. She feels threatened by anybody that's trying to take that away from her. It wasn't like an action-packed shocker lifting the veil that Episode 4 was, because we already know that SWORD is there and the FBI is there and they're watching the sitcom episodes. So it wasn't like as transformative an episode as Episode 4 was, until the very end. And I don't want to reveal the final shocking bit at the very end of this episode, but it changes everything. And it opens the door to everything. And the multiverse is a very, very real ingredient for Marvel. And what's interesting is that DC is entering into that space too by bringing back actors and having all of these different projects going in different directions. And so it's kind of surreal. We're going to be seeing actors from other versions of characters and other movie series appearing and crossing over in all kinds of wacky ways. And so it was a pretty stunning finale for episode 5. And of course, now I'm incredibly intrigued for episode 6. I'm loving the show. I'm loving the mystery. I'm loving the surprise and the all over the place kind of performances and the different sort of challenges that are thrown at these inventive creators. Yeah, WandaVision is a blast. Can't wait for next week's show. All right, I've got a couple of other quick things to tell you about. First up, there's a new EP, not Electric Playground. What does EP stand for in the music terms? You guys tell me in the comments below. But there's a new Red Dead Redemption 2 EP that puts 5 pieces of music that have never been released before onto an album if you want it, but you can also just download the soundtrack. It's being published by Orienteer, and it's got beautiful artwork if you do go for the record. It's going to be available on February 12th, and it's all tied around that house building music that's in the epilogue for Red Dead Redemption 2. Pretty sweet way to kind of memorialize this epic experience of a game. And another way you can memorialize a pretty terrific game is the Sonic Mania Lego set for Green Hill Zone, which was actually a submitted concept, a Lego idea from a UK-based superfan named Viv Granell, who actually used software to create imagery to kind of present this concept. So we've got Dr. Robotnik in this cool mech suit. You've got a loop-de-loop that Sonic can run around. You've got little bounce pads and buttons to jump off, and there's also alternate takes on what you can do with this set as well, like getting Sonic into a cool little biplane. This set looks absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to pick it up because Lego has officially approved it. It needed to get 10,000 people to support it. It crossed that. And of course, Lego has done a little bit of Sonic the Hedgehog in the Lego Dimensions game, which was a blast. And I always thought, why isn't there Sonic the Hedgehog Lego? Well, now there is. And, well, we're going to have to wait a little while, but it's coming, which is really cool. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown. I'll be back with a new episode on Monday. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. Thank you to all of our EPN members. We will see you soon. And until then, play forever.